Hey guys, welcome to the first of several Watch Chats podcasts slash video series. We're kind of, figuring out what we want this to be, but what we do know is we want to share our love of timepieces with you. So that's where we're going to start off this series and kind of figure out the kinks as we go. This is Grayson. Grayson is an associate of mine in Taylor Timepieces. He's been working with us for a while. So him and I are just going to be chatting about some watches, why we love watches, what watches we're wearing, and where we see the market going as two young guys trying to break out into the industry. So if that's something that you're interested in, sitting down and talking with us about, we are here and we're ready to go.
How's it going, man?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good to see you. What
Good
you
to
got on
see
the
you
wrist?
too. Today I got a Panerai 911. So this is really interesting. This is one of the first watches that I ever kept, and what drew me to it in the first place was the green dial with the rose gold hands. I felt that it really helped, make the piece pop. And
Sure.
it's they call it one of the last of the Panerai because it's one of the last ones that that they really, made before Panerai went all crazy with the 100 models and all these different names, and it kind of lost its edge.
Mm-hmm.
This one is going to be in the keeper collection for quite some time.
Very nice.
What about yourself?
Very nice. I got on this Audemars Piguet Royal Oak offshore diver chronograph. It is actually for sale here at Taylor Timepieces. So check us out. Send us an email to the email linked below. But it's a killer diver, man. It's a next level piece.
Yeah.
Versatile. I like the navy strap. It's a great spring and summer watch. Might not look like it outside here, but spring's coming here in New York City. And it's definitely the great spring and summer watch to wear outside.
Yeah. And I think the thing about that is they only made 400 of those with the chronograph function. So if you're the kind of guy who wants a limited piece, I think that AP is a nice place to start.
Yeah, it's got a combination of two cool complications, right? So it's still a dive watch. It's got the dive bezel internally that you can rotate and keep track of your dives or keep track of time. But then you also have the chronograph complication, right? So next level watchmaking, added versatility. It gives it more of the sporty feel. It's certainly a substantial watch without being too big. I think it's 44 millimeters. 42 millimeters, so perfect size.
Yeah. All right. So what do you want to talk about today, Grayson?
Well, we got a few watches here. Some of them are up for sale. I don't know which one you'd like to start with.
Sure. So
chat through what we got here.
Chat through a couple of them. Let's start with this. Everyone's, as this being a new series, let's talk about the one that I think everyone can recognize without really, needing to be explained. Is this Rolex over here? Personally, what I love about it is the kind of the blue sunbursts. They say with these, they kind of get like a purplish hue as they age. So I think that's really interesting. And a lot of these with the collectors really appreciate the purpleness on the dial as it ages. What do you think, man? I'd love to get your opinion on this.
Yeah, I think it's a killer piece. I'll show it for the camera here. We got the two-tone Submariner, the bluesy. This is pre-ceramic, so to Nick's point, because it's got the aluminum bezel, it'll actually fade in color over time versus the new ceramics nowadays that are scratch resistant, more modern, hold their color. These get that vintage look as you continue to wear them. And I think this is a watch that really pops. It's not too flashy, but it's a great versatile piece. It's a great investment piece, and just a great all-around watch. It kind of takes that classic Submariner to the next level with the gold, a little bit of pop of color that people will like in summertime.
Now let me ask you a question. I know it's got the two-tone bracelet over there. There are a lot of people that say that, as younger guys, two-tone is kind of, going out of style, and it's kind of like your grandfather's watch.
Yeah.
And he likes a two-tone. I mean, what's your opinion on that? Is there,
do
you think that the more vintage style is coming back for, guys our age? We're both in our 20s. For anyone who doesn't know us personally, we're both, in our mid-20s. Let's hear your opinion on that, man.
Yeah, I definitely think that two-tone's certainly coming back. I mean, you can see it with the popularity of the root beer. For instance, the new root beer from Rolex is a really hot watch right now. Prices are coming up. I think people like to be able to have a little bit of bling without wearing a full-on gold Rolex, for example. You know, it's less expensive. You can beat it up a little bit more and not feel like you're, you know, damaging a precious metal, but then you get a little bit of that show factor, a little bit of that pop that you just don't get in some other more stainless steel pieces, right? So I think two-tone's underrated. I think there's a ton of value. I think the two-tone Daytonas is a great value. This era, you know, 90s, early 2000s, like pre-ceramic Daytonas that are two-tone. So it's definitely coming on the up and up these days. Prices are coming up. I think it's a cool watch. It's a great piece to get into for the prices really rise.
Yeah, and I think for those viewers that we have that you know work corporate jobs, I think that it's a good option because you know you also don't want to be flexing on your boss. You know, right. I think that's something exactly that someone that was concerned about is like, hey, like you know, I want to be wearing a full gold Rolex because you know I don't want my boss to kind of get his ego hurt and for that to affect my corporate job, but also like. You know, you work hard. You don't want something stainless steel, maybe something that everyone else has. You know, that stereotypical. The first two Rolexes that that you always hear people getting are that Datejust, that's a Submariner. So I like that two-tone bluesy because it's something different. Not everyone makes their first Submariner, a bluesy, and nevertheless a two-tone. So I think it's really interesting for those viewers. So that one actually is not for sale. But you know, we just wanted to showcase it for you, and we thought that was a cool piece to really speak on.
Absolutely. All right, let's check out the next piece we got here. This is an Omega Speedmaster Racing coaxial. Show to the camera here in fantastic condition. It comes on this beautiful black alligator strap. Nice, beautiful deployment clasp from Omega. And look, I think Omega is one of those brands where you got probably one of the best value propositions in the industry. The amount of technology that goes into these coaxial movements that are coming out, frankly, it's probably a better watch than better movement than's in the Rolex Daytona, admittedly. You got the coaxial escapement. It's probably just as good of a timekeeper. It's got the Meta certification with magnetism and temperature that it goes through a more rigorous testing than the Rolex movements do. So I think it's a great value prop as that classic kind of black bezel, white dial chronograph movement.
I think it very much rivals something that we're seeing now, which is that white dial Daytona. With the white and the black, and I think it's a good alternative for someone who doesn't want to make that jump, especially now. You know, we have the Daytonas going, anywhere from, they started in the 20-21K range last year, and now they're bumping up to the the 30s and in some cases even the 40s, depending on conditions. So to have something that's a fraction of the cost, and the thing I like the most about this one is very similar to some other pieces that we have here. It's kind of discreet. It's got a very muted color tone.
Black and white is classic.
Black and white, and it's not in your face as much. Compared to some other pieces that we have here, like we have this Tudor here that we'll talk about shortly. That is a piece that I feel, if you want to feel like you're wearing a piece, you put them in that Tudor, and it's definitely an eye catcher. So we'll get to that shortly, but I think this Omega is just an awesome piece, and if we go into even the case back, so a lot of these, they have the exhibition case backs, and even just looking at these, like I can look at this thing all day, and I'm not sure if our viewers can see it here, but the movement and the quality, as Grayson was saying, of this piece for a fraction of the cost of some more expensive pieces. I think you're definitely getting the proper amount of bang for your buck. So that is available here today at Taylor Timepieces. But yeah, I just think it's a wonderful piece.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting into a top-notch automatic chronograph for well under $10,000, under $7,000, right? So the value proposition is there, and I don't know if Rolex will ever go with the open case back, since they're looked to have a clean case back on sports models, but it's a real shame that they don't really showcase their movements like Omega does, with the beautiful coaxial movements that are pumping out these days.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a whole episode on, how Rolex really innovates. But personally, I feel that Rolex is, while it's a great brand, and I think the marketing there is really on point.
Yep.
I think they could stand to innovate a little bit more than they have been in recent years. And we'll leave that up to interpretation. I know some of the Rolex heads, watching this are going to disagree with me, but.
Look, it's a conservative brand, right? They probably have a top 5 most recognizable brand of any company, let alone just the watch world. Their brand recognition is next to nothing, right? So I guess to protect some of that brand cachet, they're looking to slowly iterate on their models, be more conservative, keep the closed case back, not change the Submariner too much. They might move it 1 millimeter like you saw this past year. Adding the ceramic bezel was a big step for them maybe 12 years ago. But yeah, I think other brands like the Omegas of the world are really pushing the envelope with what they're coming out with, bringing new innovations into the industry.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is people always say you graduate school, you graduate college, high school, whatever it is, you get in that Rolex, you get in that watch. Now, I know personally for me, and I believe as well for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rolex was not my first timepiece. So, what made you go against the grain and say, hey, listen, again, this is not a Rolex hating podcast, but what made you choose something else as your first piece? For me, my first piece was a Breitling. There's a whole story behind that, but yeah, I'd love to hear.
I mean, if we're gonna be honest, coming in early into this hobby at a young age, price can be an issue as well.
Yeah.
And I think my graduation piece from college was actually a Tudor GMT. Not this one. This one actually is for sale at Tailored Timepieces. But I have a personal Tudor DMT that I got just after it had come out. It had been announced in Basel World 2018. It was the hot watch. I got the first one in the state of North Carolina, which is always exciting. Went the traditional route through the AD, right? Had to pay full retail for the watch, which we don't always recommend, of course. But I think what Tudor is doing is kind of taking what Rolex used to be in some ways, which is versatile actual tool watch. Now that they've gone into more of the luxury space, right, with their pricing, ceramic bezels. I think Tudor's kind of sitting in that spot where you're really just getting a solid tank of a watch that you can do anything in, wear every single day. It still looks like a luxury timepiece, but you know that when you're wearing it, you can do anything. You can wear this to the office, you can jump underwater and go on vacation with it. So it's a great piece.
Yeah. I really think Tudor is where Rolex was, 50, 60 years ago. Where, they're really starting to pick up some speed. You get some really interesting pieces. What I like about this piece is the, multicolored bezel. I think it really pops, and it's definitely something for someone who wants to make a statement. I'm not sure if you guys know, but in the open market now, especially with the new patches that just come out recently, secondary market on those are in the high 20s. So this is a very good cost-effective iteration of that. And I think it's just as interesting. It's got just as much pizzazz and character, and it's definitely a piece. I'm holding it right now, and it feels like it's got some heft to it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know about you. As this being your first personal piece, I mean, I think that's it's definitely a good choice.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those everyday watches that I know I can throw on. It's so versatile and the types of outfits that you can wear with it. You can wear it with a polo or a t-shirt and jeans. you could probably get away with it in a suit, maybe in a more casual instance.
Yep.
You can wear it with a button down and slacks to work to the office. It goes with pretty much every outfit. It is hefty, but it is sturdy, right? It's just a great all-around piece, incredibly versatile. If you wanted it to be, it could be a one-watch collection type of piece.
Yep.
You know, there's only a few watches that can really do that. I know Submariner could be a one-watch collection.
Yep.
Maybe if you're a little bit more casual, an Omega Speedmaster could be a one-watch
Yep.
collection. And I think this fits the bill of being that one-watch timepiece that can really do anything, right?
Yeah. You know, the interesting thing is too, a lot of people, you know, kind of shied away from this model because of the day wheel issue and things like that.
Sure.
And I know, you know, recently they fixed that. So anyone who doesn't know, second half of 2018 they did fix that. But I know that it's a really interesting piece, and it's got a lot of heritage and history to it. Especially now that they fixed the day wheel issue. I mean, it really is seems like a very ergonomical and economical piece, rather.
Absolutely.
To start with.
Yeah, I think Tudor is really the king in that $3,000 to $5,000 range. You know, 5,200 range retail, I think, for the chronographs. You know, all the Black Bay range is sitting between $3,000 and $4,000, and I just think the value is unmatched, really, in the industry. I think they're really crushing that segment, and you've seen that from the rise of their popularity since coming back to the United States about 6 years ago, right?
Yeah. I mean, even like, so you look at a brand like brand Seiko, and I think brand Seiko is kind of striving to be at where Tudor's at right now.
Sure, in terms of popularity.
It's kind of in terms of popularity, but it's also kind of trying to branch off of, you know, whereas Tudor comes from Rolex and is trying to kind of live up to that and be the affordable Rolex. I think that Grand Seiko is kind of you know, trying to grow in that spot as well. So
yeah, I think they fit different niches, right? So Grand Seiko certainly skews more towards the dress pieces and dressier pieces.
Yep.
Right? It's not all the time, right? They do have some of those larger sport dive models, but I feel like those are a lot less popular than, say, the Snowflake, for example, which I know is a hot watch.
Yeah.
Their beautiful execution on finishing is something that sets them apart in that price segment. But if you want something that you can beat around a little bit and not be as worried about scratching the Zaratsu finishing, right, of your Grand Seiko, then I think Tudor's the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what else we got here today? So this one actually carries a very unique story to it, this next piece. In the fact that, you know, in this business, you find that, you know, a lot of these deals that are done very quickly. You know, so was speaking with this guy yesterday about it in New York, and I just found that it was available online, and within 20 minutes, you know, this watch was in my hands, and just to show like the speed of, not only speed of transaction, but the amount of just watch enthusiasts that are in, you know, where we're at right now in New York, but also just around the world. You know, you could just it's just a really unique and interesting hobby. So, you know, to go into this is the 1392.
It's a Luminor. It's 42 millimeters. And look, it's a great piece. If you're shying away from Panerai because you think they're too big, you have too small of a wrist, go down to 42 millimeters, and it's really going to be a perfect size for those of you who have, you know, 6.5, a 6-inch wrist. Maybe you can't handle a 44, but you love the design language of Panerai, which I think a lot of people do. Then go for something like this. And if you allow me, Nick, I can show this to the camera. It's got a beautiful faux patina on the indices and the markers. It's a beautiful watch. This is something that on a rubber strap like this, you can take to the pool, right? And not feel worried about it because of this lockdown crown system. But you put it on a nice leather strap, and it can be casual, or
Yeah.
you can even bring it into the office as well. With how casual we're going these days, in a post-COVID, work
You
from
can
home
wear it on your
environment,
Zoom meeting.
right? You can wear it on your Zoom meeting with a T-shirt.
Yeah.
I think it's a great versatile piece. It's great if you're afraid of the 44 millimeters. It doesn't change too much the dimensions of
Yep.
the watch, but it's just a little bit slimmer. It's a lot more slim than you'd think from Panerai, so I think it's a great piece.
Yeah, I mean, even if we put, my I'm not sure if the camera can see this, but my 44 next to this 42, you definitely can see a difference. What I like the most about Panerai is it's classic, it's simple, it's got a bit of a rugged feel to it. It feels like this watch can take a beating. Anyone that knows my backstory, I'm very big into beards and fashion, and I feel like this Panerai watch, this brand, is really the brand for the manly man, inside of everyone, whether that's, your everyday life or just you want something that is a little bit more casual, but it can also be dressy. And, the interesting thing is, the strap options that you have with Panerai is just unmatched, in comparison to so many other brands. As far as the dial itself too, like, so if you look at something like this, like, it's got a little pop of blue, and that's what I always loved about Panerai was, the dial acts kind of as a backdrop for everything else that's got going on. You see so many other brands that the dial kind of, what's the word? It really steals the show, and it really just kind of, takes away from all the other features of the watch. And I feel like with Panerai, the dial is merely a canvas for, to really highlight things like the strap and the features on the piece. And that's why I love it.
And look, Panerai is one of those watches, especially the Luminor, that you can recognize from all the way across the room, right? Someone has a Panerai on their wrist, you see that big crown guard, they're wearing a Panerai. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic piece, a great way to get into really an underrated brand now that they've started to make their own in-house movements. They're not just using ETAs anymore. This one has the see-through case back with an automatic movement. I just think it's a fantastic piece and great value for what you can get in the industry right now.
Yeah. Now, this last one over here, I mean, I'll be honest, I've considered keeping for myself, but if we all did that, we would a very interesting and difficult business.
You can't get high on your own supply, right,
Of
Nick?
course, absolutely. I think that this piece right here, so it's a Jaeger. It's not a brand that I would have normally picked up for myself, but I feel like it adds a bit of class. It's got the perpetual calendar, which is a really interesting function, which Grayson has it, so you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got the perpetual calendar. It knows when it's a leap year.
Yeah.
You stick it on a watch winder, and it's good for the next 200 plus years in terms of keeping track of the leap years. It has the moon phase complication, all of the things that you're looking for in a classic dress piece, right?
Yeah.
It is slim. You have the black leather strap. It's from a brand that's known as the watch for watchmakers, right?
Yeah.
JLC has that prestige that a lot of other brands don't have, especially in the dress piece range. So with this watch, you're getting an incredible complication. This is definitely the watch to pair with your suit on a beautiful night out when you're getting dressed up. And it's just an incredible piece. The complication, the design, the symmetry is perfect. Those indices pop from across the room. And I think it's a great value, especially secondhand. And we're really excited to be offering this at Taylor Timepieces.
Yeah. I mean, you see so often, you see brands that aren't dress pieces and they try to be dress pieces.
Sure.
You see guys that, oh, hey, I'm gonna wear my, whatever, this piece with a, maybe it's a Submariner, maybe they wear a Submariner with a suit, or they wear,
A Speedy with a
like
suit.
a Speedy with a suit.
You're working the fake it, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, guys.
Make it a watch that's really not, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm of the personal opinion that it my view, if you're gonna wear a watch with a suit, make sure the watch is a strap. I feel like the big bulky bracelets that come in a lot of watches these days, it doesn't match. So even a watch, like if I were to put a Submariner with a suit, I would put that Submariner on a strap.
Yep.
And trying to make sure that the strap matches the suit, matches something on the suit. I feel like this Jaeger, just Jaeger in general, they had a vision, and they did it. It wasn't like, hey, so we're gonna start out as a tool watch brand, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna, hey, follow the money, and now we're doing this, we're doing that. Jaeger's one of those brands that, they wanted to add a touch of class to all of their pieces, and even their more sporty models. You can tell that there was a lot of, class and just purpose behind watches.
Absolutely.
That they make.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was great chatting with you, Nick. These are 5 incredible pieces. If you're interested in any of these pieces, the email will be down. Check us out on social media, on Instagram. Links are all down below. And we're really excited to be kicking off this series, kind of showcasing some of the pieces that we have up for sale, talking about the watch market, talking about fashion and what it's like to be a young entrepreneur here in New York City. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Looking forward to more.
Take care.